Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I am super excited about this video just because it is a video that I can definitely relate to. I am a oily freak. Especially like around the summertime, I tend to get really oily, and ever since I started to do this specific technique, I've noticed that it's really helped out with how long my foundation lasts throughout the day. I found that I don't really have to sit there and blot as much. It does last for a long time. I would definitely say anywhere between 6 to 8 hours. My foundation still looks great, and I am super excited to share this trick with you guys. So without further ado, let's begin. You will be needing a face primer. You'll be needing a translucent powder. Now I do prefer a pressed powder instead of a loose powder, but I didn't have any, so this is the one that I'm going to be using for today. And you're also going to need a setting spray, of course, your foundation, and you're also going to need a beauty blender sponge, or any sponge that you have at home will work. All right, so let's go ahead and get started. So the first thing that I'm going to go ahead and do is apply a primer. Now the primer that I'm going to be using is mattifying. It has to say matte or mattifying or anything like that, just because this will definitely help with all the oils that tend to, kind of develop around the T-zone or all over your face. So since I do get oily around the T-zone, I'm going to go ahead and apply this primer in the areas that I get the most oily. Definitely around my forehead, down the bridge of my nose, down this area right over here, and around my chin. And make sure that you blend this primer in really nicely. All right, so next thing is you're gonna go ahead and take your makeup setting spray and you're gonna apply this over the primer. I love this setting spray. All right, and after I'm done doing all of that, I'm gonna go ahead and let the spray kind of dry off a little bit. So you want to make sure that it's completely dry before we apply the setting powder. Now the setting powder that I'm using is from RCMA, and it's their no color powder. It's the original one. I love this one. I used to love the Laura Mercier, which I still kind of use, but I find myself using this one a lot more than the Laura Mercier. So I don't know, I just really like this one. I'm going to go ahead and take a Luxie brush. It's the 520 tapered face brush. Any brush that you have at home will work, as long as it's fluffy like this one here. And then I'm going to go ahead and take some of the powder, and you want to grab just a tiny bit. You don't want to grab too much. You don't want to overdo it, because what ends up happening is when you apply your foundation, you don't want it to look cakey and heavy. And since everyone knows that you're not supposed to apply your powder and then foundation right over, you have to be very careful. But I guarantee you guys that if you do this right, it will last a pretty long time. So you grab your fluffy brush like this, and then you're gonna lightly feather the powder only in the areas that you are the most oiliest. And since I am oily around the T-zone, I'm just gonna apply this translucent powder in those areas. I'm like barely lightly touching my skin. So now that I've done that, I'm going to go ahead and take my foundation, and I'm using the L'Oreal Infallible Pro Matte. I basically use this foundation like all the time. It's like my go-to foundation, and it is matte, so it's definitely going to help with keeping my face looking pretty matte throughout the day. But following these other steps will help as well. All right, so now we're gonna go ahead and take the damp beauty blender. Now I can't stress enough how important it is that your beauty blender is a little wet, so make sure that it's a little damp. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna basically apply the foundation around the face and kind of stay away from the T-zone area where we apply that powder. And we're gonna very lightly apply your foundation. Now you want to take your time with this. Be very careful as you are applying your foundation. Now to give your skin a very nice airbrush effect, you want to go ahead and kind of lightly bounce the beauty blender up and down. And don't press too hard. This way it will give you a nice natural application. All right, so now I'm gonna apply my concealer, and the one that I'm using is from Motives Cosmetics. I really like this one. I just recently started using it and I am in love. It's super creamy. It literally just looks amazing on the skin. It really does brighten up that under eye and it just looks amazing. I really like it, so definitely a must have. Make sure you guys are using a creamy concealer just because underneath the eye area, it does tend to crease, especially if the concealer is really like full coverage and it tends to dry really quickly. And if you like those thick concealers and you like a lot of coverage, I would probably recommend using a little bit of a glow enhancer oil, if you will. Mix it up and you should be good. But it should be creamy and not like super thick. That area is very sensitive, so you want to be very careful when you're applying product underneath the eye. So now I'm going to go ahead and take this brush right over here from Luxie Beauty, and this is their 680 Pro Precision brush. And I love using this brush to kind of set my concealer or kind of just blend it out because it kind of has like a little bit of a slopey end there. I don't know if you guys can see that, but I really like it. So we're gonna go ahead and start to kind of press the concealer into the skin. Now you don't want to rub it. Make sure you're not rubbing it. I'm actually pushing it in so that way it stays in place because it kind of defeats the purpose of applying concealer underneath the eye if you're sitting there kind of rubbing it off. So. Okay, so now going back in with your Beauty Blender sponge, make sure that it's damp. I cannot stress enough how important it is for your Beauty Blender to be damped. I feel like when you're setting your under eye concealer, it definitely helps, you know, keep everything in place. It sets everything really nicely, and not only that, it lasts a long time. So. Now this look is gonna be a very natural look. I'm gonna keep it very simple. I am a mom and I'm always on the go, so this is definitely like my go-to look. All right, so now that I'm done setting all the areas that I applied my concealer, I'm gonna go ahead and apply some bronzer and some blush, and then I'll be right back and we'll do something with these eyes. All right, so now taking this brush right over here, which is the Luxie 660 brush. I love using this one to kind of wipe away all of the powder that I use to set the concealer. All right, so what I'm gonna go ahead and do is just lightly dust everything off in all the places that I used to set that concealer. Okay, so now taking the 520 brush from Luxie Beauty, and you're gonna take your pressed powder, and we're basically gonna just set everything. So this is definitely a must when you're wanting to control the oils on your skin, especially after applying foundation. So you're going to use like small circular motions. All right, so now for my highlighter, I'm gonna go ahead and use this one right over here from LA Girl Cosmetics, and this is their new Strobe Light Strobing Powder. And for my brush, I'm gonna use this one here, which is the Luxie 522, and it's from their Onyx collection. All right, so I'm gonna lightly apply this on the cheekbone. It's really nice, really glowy. Now what I'm going to do is lightly apply some on my eyes, and I like to do this for like a really fresh look. So I'm just going to go ahead and apply some on my eyes like this. So this is a really nice trick because if you're on the go and you don't have time to apply any eyeshadow, just take your illuminator, apply it on your cheekbones, and lightly apply some on your eyelids. Definitely opens up the eye, makes you look awake, and it's an easy, fast trick. And people literally love it. Every time I do this, they're always asking me like, oh my gosh, like what did you do to your eyes? It's just like, girl, it's just illuminator. That's all it is. All right, you guys, so that is all for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. And I also hope you guys learned and picked up a few little tips and tricks. And definitely like to hear your feedback. Let me know what you guys thought about this, if it actually worked for you guys. I definitely want to hear about it. So don't forget to leave those comments down below. And also don't forget to subscribe, like, and comment on this video. Thank you guys so much for watching. Until next time, bye.